Hey everyone, King Loki. I just wanted to do a quick video talking about my recent pull list. You know, um, I am a little behind, so I have quite the stack here. But first off, I have The Mortal Thor, issues 7 and 8. I love this book. Thor is my favorite comic book character. Maybe Hellboy is a close second, but this is a really cool book. I've been enjoying it so far. Al Ewing is a very inventive writer. His his Immortal Thor run was really compelling for how it deconstructed the idea of Thor as a mythical character who basically lives as a consequence of human consciousness and idealism. Him being reborn as a human, it's been quite the ride. I'm gonna have to cover this one in a video essay someday. But this issue is cool because you know, Ewing is introducing Thor's villains in this new world where Thor has always been a human, right? Here we have Mr. Hyde. He's one of Thor's classic villains. He sucks, of course, but he's a physical threat to Thor. And here he's quoting Paradise Lost. He's saying things like damnation. It's good stuff. Hail horrors, hail infernal world, and thou profoundest hell, receive thy new possessor. That's what Satan says in Paradise Lost. Of course, Thor, as a mortal man, his hammer is like an ironworker's hammer. He wraps it around his wrist and he throws it. It's very interesting. There are references to the weird nether space that Thor is in during the JMS run, which I'm not a fan of at all. I really can't stand it. I'm just going to hold it up here. This is a good book. I'm enjoying it. Issue 8 is weird, though, because it takes place in Asgard, and it's Thor's brother Uller Amora, a reference to a Longfellow Viking poem about an arrow being shot. Thor's son Modai from the shitty Dan Jurgens run. There's a lot of bad runs of Thor, by the way. I have very intense opinions on Thor. This is a great book, too. He's like friends with a space rabbit. And he's doing this weird thing where like he's trying to help this frost giant become the queen of hell, and he's trying to help this ice witch become the queen of Niflheim. And this lady, this goddess, let's see, Arin, the region of the Hearthspire. It's pretty interesting and it's pretty weird, and I'm not sure how this ties into the very earthbound story of Thor, who, as far as he knows, he's just a big Norse guy called Sigurd Jarlsson. And because he can't handle seeing people, he can't handle seeing workers mistreated, he stands up for them and runs afoul of the corporate overlords that he's working for. He's a working class hero, and it's interesting, to say the least. So, him being a god, I don't know how that'll play into it, but that brings me to my next book, which is Thundarr the Barbarian. So, if you don't know Thundarr, Thundarr is like, I mean, just look at him. He's like He-Man. But here's the thing. It's an 80s cartoon, but it has better animation than He-Man. He-Man sucks. I'm sorry. He-Man's a terrible cartoon. Bad animation, bad writing, bad characters. Thundarr has a sun sword, which is totally not a lightsaber. He's friends with what's called a Mock, who's totally not a Wookiee. His name's Ukla, and a nice lady who's a sorcerer. What got me to buy this book was the writer. It's Jason Aaron, who has written for Wolverine. He's written for Thor. His Thor run is incredible, by the way. That's another video essay. This book is pretty exciting, though. I have the first 2 issues here because it was good enough to keep reading. Thundarr lives in a world where, the world has fallen apart. There are trashed skyscrapers everywhere. There are mutants and all kinds of hideous monsters that rule the world. It's kind of like the Ninja Turtles in a way with all the animal people. But in this book, Thundarr is he's not just a barbarian, he's a slave gladiator. The world is ruled by wizards who are mostly, some of them are magic, but most of them, like, just have some robot parts grafted to them and fly around on a hovercraft. Because that makes you a wizard in the post-apocalypse, right? Having a little technology. It's an exciting, dazzling world, and the thing is Thundarr remembers being an adventurer, riding on horses through the post-apocalyptic landscape with his two idiot friends, and fighting wizards. But, well, turns out that the horrible, horrible, hideous wizards of the world have changed things. And Thundarr is going to have to figure out how to get back, how to make things right again. And I'm sure he will. Or will he? Great book, great art. Check it out. I think this is put out by Dynamite. I mean, considering that G.I. Joe and Transformers are having a moment with comic books, you know. Speaking of which, the incredible, controversial Transformers number 30. So, the last two issues were all about Megatron coming back in full power, ripping Trailbreaker's head off. And then the Autobots confronting him and really going for the Decepticons to tear them apart. When, as Megatron is retreating, Elita 1 shows up and confronts Optimus. She's been on Cybertron for 4 million years, fighting the good fight, and she's pissed. Where has Optimus been? Why won't he come back to Cybertron? You know, considering that the Earth was almost just destroyed by old Shockwave, Optimus is like, I'm not leaving this planet, this bountiful, beautiful planet, to be destroyed by the Decepticons. And Alita's like, we need you back on Cybertron. I don't care about the Earth. And she's like, you don't know what it's been like. You've been sleeping for 4 million years. 4 million years! And, well, she challenges Optimus for the matrix of leadership. And he says, that's not our way. Right? I haven't covered this yet in my video essays, but I will. But, you know, it contrasts very strongly with how Soundwave challenges Starscream for leadership. That's the Decepticon way. Optimus is like, the Matrix, however, has chosen you. And he opens his chest and gives it to her. It's crazy. It really is. She becomes Elita Prime and takes half the Cybertronians back to Cybertron, leaving Optimus in this diminished form. And the thing is that he's like, yeah, the Matrix might have chosen her, but the Earth still needs to be protected. And that's a sacrifice I'm willing to make. And look, a lot of people are upset because Daddy Truck is no longer Daddy Truck, right? But Optimus is always going to do the right thing. And this version of Optimus Prime is so complex and thoughtful and emotional. How can you not love this? I mean, seriously. Also, Elita 1, she's just the best. That brings me to this book's sister book, right? I have 3 issues of G.I. Joe here. You know, I picked these all up in one big go. Issue 18 introduces Roadblock, one of my favorite G.I. Joe characters. Not a big fan of G.I. Joe, by the way. Probably not going to make any video essays about it. Like, if I reference it, it'll be in one of my Skybound Transformers videos, but, you know, Roadblock has this restaurant, right? And these Cobra goons show up to fuck with him. And he pulls out a big-ass gun because that's who he is. He's fucking Roadblock. And it's good stuff. He's genuinely likable. He's really, really enjoyable as a character. Also, Cobra Commander, our favorite psychopath. You know, fresh off the Dreadnought War. He knows that old Metal Face here. What's his name? Old Metal Face, old Destro here, betrayed him, so that's the really exciting stuff in G.I. Joe. Of course, we come to the thing that got me really into G.I. Joe, issue 19. Duke finds out about Hound. So Hound, the Transformer, has been Clutch's Jeep, and at the end of the Dreadnought War, Clutch is like, "You can't hide yourself anymore. I need you." And Hound saves the day. He morphs from his Jeep form and saves GI Joe from the Dreadnoks. And here's the thing: Duke is on the warpath, trying to find out about the Cybertronians because Starscream killed his friend. It's an incredible moment. And yeah, like, he doesn't know what to do, so they lock Hound up while Duke talks to Clutch about what's going on. And there's some more stuff that happens. I don't want to spoil the whole thing. But there's a little tease for the new Mask book, which I'll check out. I've never cared about Mask. They really want me to care about it. What can I say? And of course, issue 20, the moment we've all been waiting for, when Duke and Optimus Prime meet each other. Bit of a tease because, Daddy Truck loses his robot pecs in the previous issue. But, it is very wonderful to see this version of Optimus. He's no longer Optimus Prime. He's now Optimus. Meet Duke. It's a beautiful moment, and the real takeaway is that the two of them have a lot on their shoulders. And unlike that bullshit in Revolution, in the old IDW shared universe, they're both characters that I really, really like, Duke finding out that Starscream is dead and that he can no longer get revenge, it really affects him. But at the same time, it gives him the opportunity to tell Optimus that, look, we'll work together, we'll be friends, but if you cross me, or you're lying, there will be hell to pay. And Optimus, he says, same to you, buddy. It's cool. This Energon universe thing, this is my favorite thing right now. Like, I love Thor, but it's leaving me a little cold, and also, it's a Marvel book, so it's always gonna pull its punches, I love that, like, in the Mortal Thor, like, he's fighting, like, ground-level thugs and stuff. He's fighting people wearing the hammer. But I'm kind of like, shouldn't these people be white supremacist thugs that are appropriating his symbols? Why don't we address that? That's a big problem, right? I'm someone of Jewish ethnicity, and I've had people say anti-Semitic stuff to me because I'm wearing a hammer. I usually wear a Thor's hammer around my neck. Heck, I've got runes on my crown, I'm King Loki. But I digress. My last book is this. I almost didn't buy it, but I couldn't help myself. Godzilla Infinity Roar. This is a follow-up to Godzilla Destroys the Marvel Universe, which I thought was okay until its last issue. The last thing that happens is the Avengers build a giant robot to fight Godzilla off. It's very stupid. It's very cliche. They shoot Godzilla into space, hoping that he'll go to a peaceful planet, and just like in Planet Hulk, he goes somewhere horrible. He comes back for revenge. Namely, the symbiote planet. Another fucking null story is what this boils down to, I guess. But, symbiote Godzilla is pretty scary. Much more scary than he was in the Spider-Man issue. Before they did Godzilla Destroys the Marvel Universe, they did Godzilla versus Spider-Man, Hulk, Thor. They did a bunch of one-shots. And in that one, in the Spider-Man one, he merged with Godzilla for like a second, But yeah, here we have him destroying one of the Black Panther's worlds, one of the, Wakandan Empire worlds. They have Black Bolt try to kill him. It doesn't work, of course, although it does lay him out. I mean, Black Bolt's pretty fucking powerful. Really pisses him off, is what it does. I think it's funny how the Council of Worlds, the Shatari and Shi'ar and all them are like, oh, that's okay, Godzilla can destroy the planet Earth. I'm okay with that. And yeah, as I said before, this does kind of boil down to another Venom story. If you're like me and you read a lot of Venom, you've seen this kind of thing before, where the Guardians of the Galaxy try to fight against Null and they all become Venomized. It's a lot of been there, done that. But the big exciting thing is that, well, we have Odin wake up. And I don't know if, like, obviously, like, this isn't tied into the mortal Thor because in Godzilla Destroys the Marvel Universe, Thor is there, and this is its own evergreen version of the Marvel Universe. So we see Odin calling the banners of Asgard to war against Godzilla, which is exciting, you know? Because Godzilla is moving in on Asgard. So that seems pretty exciting. I'm looking forward to it. You know, the problem with this kind of shit is that no one's gonna die. It's a lot more creative than like the Power Rangers one where like Godzilla fights the Megazord and wins, and then they team up. It's whatever. These things tend to be very fluffy, but I'm going to talk about crossovers in a future video essay because the Transformers crossed over with the New Avengers, and that was probably the worst version of this. Anyway, that's my pull list. That's everything I read. So, what did you think? Are you reading any of these books? What are you reading? I'm curious. Like, what are people even reading at this point, right? My next video is going to be on Escalation. I'm working on it right now, so that's it. Read comics.